All right, let's talk some sport development, and specifically we're going to talk about tennis. Now, the third edition of the Hope Tennis Clinic is coming off in Cape Coast, the Central Regional Capital, on September 21. Now, this regional tour is set to commence from that particular date and is beginning from the Central Region. Now, here with me in the studio are Cedric Jelu, who's the Executive Director of the Hope Tennis Clinic, and another colleague of his as well, the president of the Hope Tennis Clinic as well, Enoch. And we're going to be having this conversation together. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you for having us,
But it's good to also note that this is the third time that we're seeing you here in the studio talk about tennis, and specifically this particular endeavor. And so you guys, I believe, are doing a wonderful job, and congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's go to the specifics. Now, what have you noticed regarding the levels of interest in the sport, outside of Accra, specifically in the Central Region where you're going to be hosting the next one?
Grace, it will interest you to know that the talent that is in Ghana in terms of tennis is vast and widespread, but most often emphasis has been laid in Accra. We have done our checks and have realized that these regions, other regions, have equal talent, and for that matter, there's a need to reach out to this region in sharing the opportunities that the foundation has to offer. The more reason why we are taking our program this year to 4 regions and making sure that we contribute to the development of tennis in the regions.
Let's just review quickly what has happened in the last 2 years. You started this on a very, very high energy note, especially from your point of view. But what did you notice when you went around in the first 2 years?
So, and thank you for the question, Chris. But
Nathaniel,
yes, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. But yeah, for the first 2 seasons that we hosted Hope Performance Tennis, I mean, the motive behind the organization was to empower the young generation, coming up as a tennis players, and I use my background, as a tennis player to always, push the vision, because, I mean, growing up as a tennis player, it was very tough for me, and I remember I came back home in 2017 and I realized most of the young generation coming up as tennis players are basically going through the same thing I went through, and this time it's even tougher than I was, so this motivated me, to come up with the organization, to start talking to people and make sure, these kids that are coming up as tennis players, who have the support that they need, who have the equipment that they need, to have that free mind to play the game instead of going through those struggling, and stuff. So in 2018 and 2019, when we did our program, we make sure these kids are benefiting from it. So we came up with a lot of equipment, a lot of string, rackets, balls, grip that they will need to make sure, their game or the game of tennis go forward for them.
Now, and I'm very glad about this conversation about equipment support, because, in starting off the sport and giving it its foundations, equipment support is very, very important.
Yeah.
Now, how equipped are you for this season, especially considering that Cape Coast has a very big population of, school-going children, just like all the other regions, and is seen as the nerve center, especially for second cycle, sports. I mean, the second cycle institutions. A lot of them are there in Cape Coast. What's the plan in terms of equipment support for this project?
Chris, Nat, you are right on point that this is an exotic game, and the cost of a racket is expensive, as well as other equipment. We have a sustainability plan to ensure that our program runs on a sustainable scale and do not close in the short term. We have partners, we have sponsors, we have people who are giving us the needed support. Myself, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, with the president to raise funds to make an appeal to people of benevolence who are interested in supporting the game even here in Ghana. And believe you me, we have made a good case to raise resources that is needed for this clinic. And so we are not short in supply at all in terms of racket, in terms of strings, grips, and all the things that we needed. COVID has prevented us from starting earlier than this. If not, we would have hosted this program 2-3 weeks ago. But it was just yesterday that we took delivery of all 18 cards, 18 package of our program. We have sorted each of them out, we have named them, and as I speak, each of them are on their way to the regions that we have in this program. So we are good on equipment, and we assure you that each kid that comes to our program will have a share in terms of tennis rackets, strings, and ball to participate and to grow in the game.
As we wrap up the conversation, there's also the talk about the major infrastructure itself. Now, the probability of finding a tennis court, be it hard, be it clay, be it, lawn, grass, is very, very difficult. Tell me about that as well, what you found out regarding the availability of the infrastructure as well in these regions.
So it is true that the cost of, putting up a tennis court is very huge. Myself and the president and the management have come out with a plan, speaking to members of parliament, speaking to district chief executives, if they can commit part of their common fund to putting up at least just one tennis court, operation one tennis court, and we will supply the tennis equipment, the racket, the balls, to this court, and ensuring that we have a center that will operate on daily basis. The case when they close from school at 3 o'clock, they come up to this center, they practice up to 5 and they go home, making sure that we are creating a hub across the country. And so if you can help us use this platform to reach out to the ministers, to reach out to the MPs, the DCs, we'll be happy to go on this one court project to ensure that we mount this court, provide a facility, and we keep the game going.
Okay, finally, what's the mode of entry for this clinic?
So the mode of entry with Hope Performance Tennis, when you're coming for our clinics, you basically don't have to pay anything. Everything is zero. You just bring yourself, equipment, the equipment and everything is already there. And one thing that we also do, for these kids, because we know how the situation is, so each and every program that we do, when you come, you don't pay anything. And also there is free breakfast for you, free lunch, free refreshment, and then free equipment. So basically you don't pay nothing, and then you come there and you get everything that you need.
That is heavily commendable. Tell me about the date and the time schedules as well before we wrap up.
Now, if we leave this studio, we are on our way to Winneba to kickstart from tomorrow to Saturday. From there on the 21st, we'll be in Cape Coast. We'll move to Sogakope from the 23rd to 24th September. Then from the 1st to the 2nd October, we'll hit Sunyani and be at the Uzbek Hotel in Sunyani. And finally crown it up or at the Netco Tennis Club from the 8th to the 9th of September.
Wow, interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. Enoch and Cedric, and thank you so much. So they represent the Hope Tennis Performance Clinic, and they are doing some wonderful stuff. Free equipment for the kids, free food. Just come and take part. It's free registration as well. All right, so I will be updating you as well on what happens on the rate of performance of these kids who will take part in it, and also the levels that they will reach and get themselves ready for competing, from the competitive level here in Ghana.